Hi, I'm Randy Wood from TenPoint Crossbows. Today we're going to talk about sighting in and adjusting your RangerMaster 100 scope and your Marksman Elite. We'll talk about eye relief, focus, and most importantly, getting the bow sighted in so you're ready to hit the woods. So before we even worry about cocking the bow and shooting, a couple things that you want to look at. The first thing that you want to pay attention to is eye relief, and that is how far you are from the back of the scope to your eyeball so that you can get a full view in the scope. And so with that, you may have to adjust this scope forward or backwards, depending on what's comfortable for you. And then the second thing is once you get that scope and that eye relief set exactly the way you want it, you want to make sure that you're in focus. If your scope has the scope caps, the lens caps on it, you'll want to take this back cap off, and then once you have that back cap off, then you can make that adjustment left or right, and you want to be able to see the target clearly as well as your crosshair. So once you have your eye relief set and the scope is focused, the next thing you want to do, again with either the RangerMaster 100 or the Marksman Elite, is make sure that your speed ring is adjusted properly. So today with the Siege 425, we're going to have this speed ring at 425 to start with. And again, with the RangerMaster, it's just a simple movement left or right to adjust your speed. On a Marksman Elite scope, it has a locking speed ring, so you need to slide that ring forward. It'll click and move about 1/8 of an inch. Then you can adjust it, get it where you want it, pull it back, it'll lock in place, and you're good to go. But again, with the Siege 425 we're shooting today, I'm going to start at 425, and that should get us pretty darn close. We may need to make some adjustments as we shoot at different distances, but right now I'm going to start at 425 at 20 yards and see where we hit. All right, we're a couple inches low. We'll take the turret caps off and make some elevation adjustments. Windage looks pretty good. We're shooting a little bit low, so I'm gonna turn the turret where it's going up. And I'm off about 6 inches here, so I'm gonna just go ahead and give about a half a turn. All right, so we were about 6 inches low, so I moved the dial up about a half a turn. So let's get an arrow loaded and see where we hit. Make any adjustments from there. Way better. Looks like we need to maybe move about a half an inch. So you'll notice when you look at the dial on the scope, it's going to say a half an inch, one click equals a half an inch at 100 yards. You have to remember that you're shooting at 20 yards. And so that's 1/5 of the distance. So you actually have to turn 5 clicks to get a half an inch at 20 yards. If you were shooting at 50 yards, you would be 2 clicks to a half an inch because you're at half of 100 yards. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. But we're to the point now where it's just going to be a few clicks to really get dialed in here at 20 yards. And then we'll back the target out, take a shot at 30 yards, take a shot at 40 yards, and then we'll fine tune with the RangerMaster 100 at 50 yards. If you were shooting the Marksman Elite, the center line on that scope is at 40 yards. So if you were shooting, again, the Marksman Elite, you would do your fine tuning at 40 yards. With the RangerMaster 100, the center line is 50 yards. So we'll do the fine tuning at 50, but I always want to get very close right here at 20 and then stretch the bow out and do any additional adjustments from there. So again, we're about a half an inch low at 20 yards, which is going to be about 5 clicks. So I'm going to come up 5 clicks. And we are a little bit left. And so I want to move it right. About 2 clicks. Let's cock it, shoot it one more time, and see where we're at. All right, so we made those final minor adjustments. We're going to shoot it one more time, see where we hit. Don't rush this process. You know, you may want to shoot, you may need to shoot 10, 15 times to really get fine-tuned and dialed in. But this bow was shooting pretty darn well right out of the box. And so let's take this last shot at 20 yards, see where we're at. And then again, we'll probably stretch it out to 30 or 40 yards and then go out to 50 and do our fine tuning there. That looks pretty good. As you can see, that one was pretty much dead center. I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that we're all dialed in and make sure we've got a good group here. That looks like we're stacking them right in the middle. All right, so we were dead on at 20. I went ahead and moved the target out to 40. Again, if you were shooting the Marksman Elite, here is where you would do your fine tuning with your windage elevation at 40 yards. With the RangerMaster 100, I just want to make sure we're kind of still hitting well at the 40 yards. With this one, then I'll back the target up to 50 yards and do the fine tuning with the windage elevation on that. But we're going to take one shot at 40 just to get an idea of where we're at. And again, when you look through this crosshair, you're going to see the top crosshair is 20, next crosshair down is 30, third crosshair is 40. So that's what we're going to use right now. All right, so looks good. We're about a ½ inch to an inch high, but I'm fine with where we hit for now. We're going to back the target up 10 more yards to 50 yards and do my last fine tuning with windage and elevation there. Then we will move the target out to 60, see where we hit, move the target up to 40, see where we hit, and then if we need to make any speed ring adjustments from there to get that elevation exactly where we want it. But again, with the RangerMaster 100, you want to be dialed in at 50 yards. If I was shooting the Marksman Elite, I would do the fine tuning here at 40 yards. So we'll back that target up, take another shot, see where we hit. All right, so we backed the target up to 50 yards. Again, we were just about ½ inch to an inch high at 40 yards. Didn't want to make any adjustments there, but we're going to have a shot at 50, see where we hit, and make our last windage and elevation adjustments from there. And again, out at 50 yards, now I'm going to use the fourth crosshair down. It'll say 50 yards actually out by the side of it. And we'll see where we hit. All right, so the arrow hit about 2 inches high and about an inch to the right. So again, when we were shooting at 20 yards, it was 5 clicks to move it a ½ inch. We're now at 50 yards, so it's only 2 clicks. So I'm going to come down 4 clicks, and we're going to go, there was a little bit to the right, so we're going to go left about 4 clicks. We'll cock it, shoot it, see where we hit. All right, that looks pretty good. So now we'll take the target out to 60 yards, shoot it, see if we're high or low, bring it back to 40 yards, see if we're high or low, and then we'll make any speed ring adjustments that we need to. If we're shooting high at 60 yards and 40 yards, we're going to turn that speed up a little bit. If we're shooting low, we'll turn that speed down just a little bit. And you'll just make slight adjustments on that speed ring, up or down. Again, if you're high, turn the speed up. If you're hitting low, turn the speed down. And just make small adjustments until you get dead on at those other distances. All right, so I got out to the target, actually saw that the air was about a ½ inch high. So I'm going to go ahead and move down another 2 clicks. And again, here target's at 60 yards, so I'm going to use that 60-yard crosshair. All right, let's go see where we hit. It was center. I'm just not sure if it's a little bit high or a little bit low. All right, so got out here to the target at 60 yards. It's a little bit high. I don't want to make any windage and elevation adjustments. I'm going to take the target back to 40, see if we're high there as well. If we are, I'll turn that speed ring up just a little bit. All right, so again, we were about an inch or so high at 60. I'm going to guess that we're probably a little bit high at 40 as well. I'm going to take this shot to confirm. And then if we were high at 40 and high at 60, I'm going to adjust that speed ring up just a little bit, and that should get us set. And again, I'm at 40 yards, so I'm going to use that third crosshair down. And as I thought, we're about an inch high, so I need to turn the speed up just a little bit. We'll take another shot and see where we hit. All right, so again, we were shooting a little bit high at 60, a little bit high at 40. I turned that speed ring up just a little bit, probably 5-7 feet a second on this. Again, if you are shooting high, you adjust the speed up. If you're hitting low, you turn the speed down. So we've adjusted it up just a couple feet a second. We'll take this shot and see where we hit. So we're pretty close. I want to move it just a little bit faster on the speed to bring it, dial it in there, and we'll take one more and see where we hit. All right, we adjusted that speed ring just a little bit more. Let's take one last shot and hope we are good to go. There we go. We are all set. It's a little bit to the left, but the wind picked up on us. But we're dialed in and ready to go hunt. All right, so we got dialed in, but again, just kind of a recap. Before you even start shooting, make sure your eye relief is right. Make sure you've got the focus just the way you want it. Make sure you get the speed ring set at about where the bow will be shooting based off of your bow and the weights of your arrows. Then, as you shoot, work slowly. Again, remember at 20 yards, you've got 5 clicks to a half an inch. 50 yards, you've got 2 clicks to a half an inch. 1 click is a half an inch at 100 yards. And again, once you start adjusting your speed ring, if you're hitting a little high, you adjust the speed up. If you're hitting a little low, adjust that speed ring down. And again, the center line on the RangerMaster is 50 yards. The center line on the EVO Elite is 40. That's it. Now that we've gone through these lists of tips, techniques, hopefully you've learned something. You've got a little bit better consistency, a little more accuracy. If you still feel like you need help, go ahead again and go to the TenPoint Crossbow website to find your local TenPoint authorized service center. They'll get you dialed in.